Good morning, everyone, from the Navy Memorial where we finished up yesterday. This is the pickup spot and the ending spot for our Cherry Blossoms tour with Viator that we're taking today. It's just about 10 a.m. which is when it starts. And there's lots of tours here lined up, but they scan your QR code, which you would have gotten on the app or in an email, and then they put us in a line. So it's kind of like shore excursions on a ship, just divide you up by tour. There's lots of buses here. It is a very lovely day for our tour. However, it is again cooler than we were expecting. It was supposed to be like 70 and something and sunny all day, and now it's only like, what is it, like 60?
Oh, I'm hot because we're sitting in the blinding sun.
Yeah. It's supposed to rain this afternoon, so I'm not sure how that'll affect things. This is a 4-hour tour, so it's like from 10 to 2. And so it's over lunch, so just keep that in mind. I'm sure there's no meal break. If it's like the one we went on last year, they did give us water. Did they give us snacks? Not last year. Last time we were here. Our tour guide is currently counting us. We're on a big black bus, and it's pretty full. There is one empty seat here next to Meg in front of me. Other than that, it's very full.
Keep this in mind, 90% of the time, you are looking at the park police. Their helicopters are blue and white. Now, if you see green and white helicopters, that's a United States of America. If there are 3 of them and the landing gear is out permanently, that is the President of the United States. If you see 2, that is the Vice President. You see 1, that is Pete Buttigieg.
The Secretary.
Seriously, he is like a co-vice president. But if you see 1, that's likely a cabinet level position, head of an executive agency, or someone very important.
All right, we haven't gone very far. He does describe things and tell us stories and stuff as we're going along on the bus, like points things out as we're going along, but it's really hard to get good video of that, especially since Ben wanted to be by the window, which is totally fine. Our tour guide's name is Paul, and his family are German Jews that came over. Did you catch, like, at the beginning of World War II? On Holland America. Yeah, on Holland America line. They were able to get passage from Amsterdam on Holland America, which we learned about that on our Holland America cruise that we took last year, about how they helped people during World War II to evacuate Europe. And our driver's name is Maggie, is that right? Yeah. And he said he was a tour guide on Capitol Hill for 15 years, and his family also worked. Somebody worked for the State Department. Sister works for the State Department, and somebody else worked someplace else.
He worked on Capitol Hill as a tour guide for 15 years.
Right, I said that. So anyway, strong tradition in his family of public service. But anyway, we're way at the back of the bus, which I don't love because, I don't know.
It's the back of the bus.
It's the back of the bus, and I'd rather be closer to the tour guide. This doesn't seem like the most responsive group. Like, he tells jokes, and like, I feel like the only one getting it is me. The Jefferson Memorial is over there, and the World War II Memorial is right there. Right now he's just allowing a restroom break. I don't know why we needed one only 20 minutes after we got on the bus, but anyway, he said there would be restroom breaks at every stop except the White House, right? Plenty of opportunity to use the restroom, and they do have a cooler up there of water, but that's it, it's just water. The thing about these tours is, even though I'm kind of getting the sense this is probably going to be almost an identical route to the one we took 3 years ago to see the monuments, the difference comes in the fact that your tour guide is a totally different person and is going to have different stories.
Represent all of the states during World War II. So there are 48 states, as Alaska and Hawaii didn't come in until shortly afterward. And there are also columns for our territories. Territories during World War II. Guam, Puerto Rico, American Samoa, the Virgin Islands, Washington, D.C. And at the time, the Philippines. Now, because of the size of the population of the Philippines, they had 2 non-voting representatives in Congress, whereas most just had 1. The wreaths that you see are oak and wheat. Oak for our industrial strength. Keep going, guys. I'm going to kind of like hang out in the middle here. Make sure people in the back can hear me as well. So oak to show our industrial strength. That's what you would do to heat up a crucible. And wheat to show our agricultural strength because we are a breadbasket of the world. Now these 2 arches are the 2 feeders during World War II, Atlantic and Pacific. You will see 4 eagles. They are the 4 branches of the military during World War II. Army, Navy, Coast Guard, Marine. The Air Force does not separate. The Army Air Corps does not separate from the Army until 1947. They have garland in their mouth, holding a wreath representing peace, and then below that, there is a medallion, and if you served during World War II, you got this medal. It shows Nike, the goddess of victory, holding a broken sword, and she is stepping on the helmet of Ares, the god of war. And the water feature down there makes it a bit difficult for me to be heard. So over to the left, you'll see that gold area with the blue outlining it. That is called the price of freedom. There are 4,048 gold stars. Each one of those gold stars represents 100 American lives lost during World War II.
The Japanese? Korean tour behind us.
Let's go look at the
Stars? Okay. I love this memorial. I think they did a beautiful job. He was saying that the states are actually in the order alternating from side to side in the order they were admitted to the Union. So Delaware is first. Walking over to find Wisconsin. Here's Massachusetts, which is where Andrew works.
There are a total of 36 columns, 26 on the outside around. That is the number of states from the original 13 colonies.
Okay, alarming fun fact that we just learned on the bus. The tidal pool over here is a man-made water thing. Is it tidal? I don't know. Why is it called the tidal pool? I don't know. But anyway, because he said it was man-made. And it used to be chlorinated, and it was a segregated swimming hole. So imagine people back in the early 20th century out here swimming. But he said rather than integrate it, they decided just to close it down and make it not for swimming anymore. And so now it's just, you know, you can go out there on the little paddle boats and walk around it, and that's it. We're now at the, oh wow, look at this girl getting her picture taken. There's steps. Well, they're taking us to the front. This was under construction the last time we were here, 3 years ago, and you couldn't visit it at all. And he only gave us 20 minutes, and it's going to take us that long, 25, to walk around just to get to the steps. He said they're doing construction on the elevator and the lower level. They said something when we were here 3 years ago about that.
Modi, sabi ka I studied this.
And then above us, we see the books, which he loved. Now, when people see the corn, they think it's for feeding people or beasts of burden. No, it's for making whiskey. That's right. So, like I said, our founding fathers knew how to have a good time. He's holding a copy of the Declaration of Independence, which he was the primary author of. And then we have some of his speeches. Thomas Jefferson was not an orator like our other founding fathers. He hated public speaking. Now, stated in the Constitution, from time to time, the president must address Congress, whether in person or in written form. We call it the State of the Union address. He always just handed his agenda to the Speaker of the House. He didn't want to be in front of Congress. Franklin Delano Roosevelt suffered from polio, which took away his ability to stand. But reporters at the time did not want to show our president's weakness. So they would often only show him from the waist up. Now, this wheelchair, very primitive, it was made of a child stroller and a rocking chair. He had 3 of them. Now, when they first made this memorial, they had President Roosevelt, but they didn't have his wheelchair. They were like, what are you doing? This is a major part. So they had the statue recast. When oil was discovered in Saudi Arabia, we wanted to form a strategic partnership with that country. The king of Saudi Arabia had spent a large amount of his life uniting the tribes in the peninsula, spent a lot of time on horseback and on camelback, and it severely injured his back. He was carried around on a sedan chair. You've seen this in movies. Servants have a throne basically with poles. They all lift up at the same time and they walk around like this. When the king of Saudi Arabia sees this wheelchair, he goes, my life would be so much easier if I had something like that. FDR, again, he had 3. He's like, take one. Strategic partnership sealed. The water features are prominent, and it might be difficult to hear me. So the first is a waterfall showing the stock market crash and our entering the Great Depression. Left office, if there was some way that he could serve as vice president and advise another president, because a lot of people wanted him to serve a 3rd term. He said he might be interested in something like this. So that's not to say it might not be used in the future one way or another. So this famous phrase, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. That was talking about our banking system. People were hoarding their money and taking the money out of the bank, causing them to collapse. And he was telling people, keep your money in the bank. It will be safe. We all, as adults, got a similar pep talk in November of 2001. As our economy started to tank, President Bush said, go out, spend your money. We will defeat this. So I thought that was very interesting that, you probably didn't know it, but we got that pep talk too. We walk a little bit closer, y'all. So these columns have indentations and braille. So for those that are visually impaired, they're able to experience some of this as well. When they were first installed, people who are visually impaired were touching the braille and they said, this is gibberish. It's too far apart. They're the wrong size. So they had to be updated. I always want to get like silly putty and push it in here and peel it off. But again, I'm showing how old I am now.
I never realized that the FDR Memorial was so huge.
Have, regardless of the national service.
Preach it.
There, I said it. Every other country in the world has socialized health care. We should too. We have all earned that. Bus driver
I would say that the cherry blossoms, or just the blossoms, are the best at this memorial of all the ones, don't you think?
Yeah.
They're just everywhere, all around us. Yeah.
She's pitching mine.
We were just saying that some of the visitors, especially those that don't seem to speak English, are being rather disrespectful of the memorial. Like, they don't seem to understand the seriousness of it. And they're taking kind of like goofy, silly pictures in parts that are actually very serious.
Excerpts from 6 of Dr. King's speeches. On the right side, there are 8, and that is to observe the year of his assassination, 1968. Now, March 28, 1963, along the reflecting pool at the Lincoln Memorial, Dr. King gives his prepared speech. After his prepared speech, the crowd is milling about, they're speaking loudly, it looks like the event is about to end. A gospel singer named Mahalia Jackson yells out, "Martin, tell them about your dream." This was a speech that he had given several times over the past year at Ebenezer Baptist Church, and he had it memorized. So there was a student archivist from Morehouse College which had requested his speech, and after his prepared speech, he's flipping through looking for it, and he doesn't find it. That student archivist later goes to work for a shoe company in Oregon called Nike. In the movie Air, the person who signs Michael Jordan, played by Chris Tucker, that's the student archivist. Now, this memorial came here in 159 pieces. Who put this together, like most manufactured items in the United States, came from a different country. Anyone guess what country? China. Wait till you see the definition on the statue. The veins in his hand, the wrinkles in his suit. Keep going, guys, keep going, keep going.
Beautiful dress.
Lots of Cuban girlfriends. All right, so I had just told you that this is the first time that the Air Force debuted in a conflict. He's right over here. You'll see, unlike the other service members, he does not have a metal helmet. He has a pile hat, a fur hat. The antenna would have made him a prime target. And he is looking up in the air. That's why they're calling an airstrike or a medical evacuation, a medevac. Listed in this semicircle area are the names of the service members that died or were missing in action. Also included are the names of those who fought for the Republic of Korea.
Okay, we're at the Lincoln Memorial. We're resting on a wall for a second. The tour continued on without us because we're pretty tired. Our feet really hurt.
I'm fine.
Ben's fine as usual. There's construction going on here right now as usual. They're gonna put in some stuff. And then we're supposed to go to Vietnam Memorial next, which is over there, so we'll make our way over there in a minute. It's a lot more walking than we were expecting. It's like kind of a continuous tour. The times we're on the bus are actually very short. And this one is different than our monuments one we took 3 years ago, in that one we had a lot of like time to ourselves where he'd just be like, okay, here's Lincoln Memorial, go explore, whatever, and I'll be over here and come back to me when you're done, kind of thing. But this one, he's continually talking and telling us very interesting stuff the whole time, but you really kind of have to stay with them. And there's a lot of elderly and, you know, slower walkers and folks with canes and stuff that I can see we're all kind of struggling to keep up because he's a very fit guy and we're having trouble keeping up. And then a couple people have said to me, don't we get a snack break or something, because this is right over lunch. It's from 10 to 2, bless you. And so everybody's hungry. So that is kind of weird, and we're definitely going to be very hungry after this. I'm excited because we came around to the other side of the White House. There's a lot of people here today, probably for the Easter egg roll, although on the other side, the tents are all set up and everything.
We confiscated cannons and cannonballs from the British. We melted them down and made that statue. So, do you all remember earlier I was telling you about my cousin Bernard Baruch? Here's that bench I was telling you about. So this is where he, and it's dedicated to him. And that's where he would watch people leaving the Willard. Now there is a not so secret tunnel leading from the White House over to the Treasury building. It was dug in 1862 during the Civil War. General Winfield Scott thought the city might get overrun by the Confederates, but it would have been inconvenient for President Abraham Lincoln if he were to be evacuated. He would have to leave the White House and get into storm shutters to access it. During Truman's time in office, they made it zigzag. If there were ever an air raid, it would deflect the concussive force. And then it was updated once again during the presidency of Obama, President Barack Obama. So it begins over at the West Wing over here, where you see all the white tents, leading over to the East Wing, and then over to the Treasury building.